Maybe I'd be happy to let it all go. Dedicate my life to making jelly molds. Learn to cook and learn to sew. I'm a happy homemaker.
Hi, and welcome to the Comfy Red Couch. My name is Tracy, and I'm your host. I am coming to you from a beautiful day in Toronto where it's been very, very warm the past few days. I know Toronto's not the only place that has been enduring heat, but the heat has been so much that it has been setting off the smoke detector, carbon monoxide detector that is hardwired through my house. So our basement, our first floor, our second floor, our third floor, all go off with this high-pitched screeching that happens, and it is just, ow, it hurts your ears. It's awful to hear. And, at least, and I'm going to knock on some wood, it hasn't gone off at 2 a.m. because that would not be good. But it has done in the past, and it's just a very temperamental system. A little bit of humidity gets in there, sets the alarms off. So that's how hot it has gotten. The other day it rained, and within 10 minutes it was back steamy again, hot. Rain had ended, fire alarms went on. So loud and sticky and hot in Toronto. But otherwise, beautiful weather. Anyway, I have a lot to share with you this week. Last week, unfortunately, I woke up with a fever of about 102 and above. I think it was 102.4, and not a radio station I was listening to, just my internal temperature, not feeling well, and knew that I was not going to be able to podcast that day and really didn't function well the rest of the week. So we're back to hopefully the regular podcast schedule today at least, and there may be just a couple more weeks of holidays where I'm not quite on my regular schedule, but once Labor Day hits and the kids are back to school, the fall schedule is back in place, then I will definitely be back to my regular Sunday schedule. But for the next couple of weeks, things might not quite go as planned, so that's sometimes the way it goes. If you are a new viewer to the podcast, welcome. I hope that you have a chance to sit down and relax, and that you'll be able to enjoy what I talk about knitting and crafting. Although I don't have any crafting, just knitting today. I do talk a little bit about some tea, and I have some tea to share with you as well. And if you are a returning viewer, welcome back. Thank you for hanging in the past few weeks where I've kind of not been around as much as I normally am. Usually I do film every week on a Sunday, but went away for a few weeks, sick last week. Life happens, and so thank you for coming back. I know that you have your requisite cup of tea or coffee or cold beverage, whatever it is that you need. You've got your nice comfy spot on the couch with me. I am just realizing my little red thing is not there, so I'm going to pop up and grab it. It's never quite the Comfy Red Couch without at least that little bit of red there, so a little bit of an homage to the previous couch that used to be here. Anyway, so you've got your cup of tea, you've got your spot on the comfy white couch with the red blanket on it, and you are ready to talk about knitting. Before I get to the content today, though, I would like to tell you where to find me. I am on Ravelry as Tracy RR, and on Instagram I am Comfy Red Couch, or at Comfy Red Couch. Now, I am going to make a change to my Instagram account in the next day or two. And the reason is, and I know I am not the only one who's going to understand this, I've been getting a lot of spam accounts trying to follow me, and seeing other people's pictures put up there. And I do put pictures of my children sometimes on the Instagram, and while I often have test knits that I've put on there, I've got a few personal things that I really don't want out there for someone to randomly steal and put up as their own photographs. So I will be taking my account private this week. And if you already follow me, I believe you just continue to follow me. But if you don't follow me and you'd like to, just send me a request, and what I will do is I will look through like I always do. If it's a spam account, sorry, I'm just going to dismiss, block, because I don't want any of those. And if you've got just an account, you've got some lovely knitting on there, you've got some messages that I know it's a real person, not a robot. If you are not some business like, and I don't want to say a business because, I mean, there are lots of people who have lovely little Etsy shops, and I will definitely follow you if you have a nice little Etsy shop or you've got your own little website because you're selling your own hand-dyed yarn. But like those big companies that try to follow you and you're kind of wondering why. So I'll sort of take it as is, as everyone does, but I am going to take my account private, and but if you would like to follow me and you don't already, you're welcome to. Just a word of warning that is going to happen, just more as a result of the big spam blockages that I've been doing recently. So there's my little note about Instagram, and also where you can find me on Ravelry. And let's get to some tea time. It is time to have some tea, and today I am drinking out of my kitty cat swell bottle that I got in Cape Cod, and there is the little gray kitty chasing the little gray mouse. And today I am drinking Enchanted Narnia, which is a bird and blend tea, and it is rose petals, and it is a raspberry leaf. It has some cocoa shells in it as well. I don't like it as much as a cold brew tea, and I think that's because of the cocoa shells. I think the cocoa shells need to melt a little bit. I think this will be really, really lovely as a hot brew tea, especially as we're approaching fall and winter. But this is what the tea looks like. Beautiful rosebuds in there and some rose petals as well. It smells absolutely lovely. There's a hint of chocolate smell in there as well. But I think maybe if I were to put that little bit of tea in some warmish water, enough to maybe melt the cocoa shells, and then put it into the cold brewer, it might taste nice, a little bit more, get some of that chocolate flavor in there. But it's okay as a cold brew. You get that really nice fragrant rose scent, and but I just think that the chocolate is missing as a cold brew. So next time I make it, it's going to be hot brew. But for now, cheers, and let's drink some tea, and then I'm also going to talk about some more tea. So cheers. Definitely that rose flavor in there. Not as much chocolate as I would like, but I do have some other tea that I'm going to share that was a gift from one of my friends, and Isaac's former grade 3, 5, and 6 teacher. So he had the same teacher for all 3 of those grades. He was very, very lucky. We have become really fantastic friends, and I talked a little bit about her, I believe, at the very beginning of July, and I said I was going to be gifting her the Ivy Over the Door shawl. So we finally got together this past week, and I gifted her the Ivy Over the Door shawl. She loved the blue colorway, which was Hedgehog Fiber's Wish, and of course it was just too hot to be wearing it because it was so hot and humid, but she will be wearing that, I'm sure, in the fall, and it will be a loved object by her. So she was definitely knit worthy. And she had gone to Boston just about the time that we had left Cape Cod. I think we left on the 30th, and then she arrived on the 31st in Boston, something like that. So 2 ships passing in the night. While she was there, she picked me up some lovely tea. So all of the tea in Boston was not thrown in the harbor, just to make that clear. She bought me some tea too. So I have had this before. Karina from Tasmania sent me a lovely little box of tea too, and I've been enjoying some of those as cold brews as well. This is the Earl Grey. So T2 has some locations in Boston, and I believe they've opened a few worldwide locations. And she also bought me Irish breakfast tea, which I love. She was trying to decide between English breakfast or Irish breakfast. I find Irish breakfast is that little bit stronger, and I really, really like it. So I'm looking forward to trying this one, and I'm looking forward to trying this one as a cold brew. And this one is watermelon sorbet. So 3 wonderful boxes of T2 tea. T42? Not T42. Just T2 tea. And I'm looking forward to trying those out in the next little bit. So the watermelon sorbet, oops, fell on the floor, is going to be a cold brew for sure. Anyway, I think that's all I've got for tea time right now. Let's move on to the knitting content after, of course, I have another sip. And, you know, it's been a while. Cheers again to a wonderful week ahead and a wonderful last bit of summer holiday time. I know that lots of people are heading back. Some people have already headed back to school, but lots will be heading back after Labor Day. And upcoming, this is my last full week off of work, and then I head back. But I'll talk about that later. Anyway, cheers. I love this. Sips well. It's so cute. It's time for my favorite things, and I have to say, every single summer holiday, I think to myself, oh, all the knitting I'm going to get done. And then the end of my holiday comes along, and I'm always a little bit disappointed at how much knitting I got done, or more so, how much knitting I did not get done. And this summer is going to be no different. I did try to go into it with a little bit of a different mindset, knowing that I wouldn't get as much done as I always think I'm going to get done. But this past week especially, I was knocked on my backside and really didn't get much done, and definitely not as much done as I would have liked. But I do have a finished object. I have the half-finished object, so I guess I've been getting some things done. Although one of them's been done for a little over a week, ready for last week's podcast, but unfortunately my body was not ready for last week's podcast. Anyway, let us share with you the half-finished object, and these are my Soul Sisters socks, and I have one. This is a test knit that I did for Jules Hill, who is So Sweet Violet, and also Amy Loudon, who is Little Tailoress, and also the dyer behind Dandelion and Dogwood. I'm always so proud of myself when I remember the order of Dandelion and Dogwood. But these are a pattern that they came up with together. They are called the Soul Sisters socks. There is a beautiful lace pattern that goes down the front. These are done toe up. So there's the toe, and then it is a gusset with a Gaudet heel, which is a heel that Jules has created, and it is fantastic because you don't get the gaps like you would on many socks. I decided to make these gorgeous little watermelon socks into shorty socks because I thought they'd be really quite cute because they are summery in a pair of Skechers or something that's a little bit more summery. One thing I did have a challenge with, and probably what I should have done, was reduced my count just a little bit more, because of course my ankles are a lot thinner than my calves, and normally if I were knitting socks I would keep going and these would be fitting perfectly around my calves and my ankles, but they are a 72 stitch count and they might be a little bit baggy around my ankles, but it's okay. I have used the Surprisingly Stretchy Bind Off by Jenny's Surprisingly Stretchy Bind Off, And I did try to tighten it a little bit because I knew that it was going to be a little looser than I was hoping, but I am quite pleased with them. And I am partially done my second sock. So this pattern has been released. When I was asked if I would be able to do a 2-week turnaround, I had said to Jules, I don't think I'm going to be able to do the 2-week turnaround, so I'm not feeling horrible that I'm not finished yet, although I am really hoping to get these off the needles tomorrow, blocked, photographed, and put up as a finished object on Ravelry. So this is my toe, and then I have started the lace pattern. I am just a few repeats away from where my gusset will start. So I'm not quite halfway, but I'd say I'm about a third. So maybe a quarter to a third, because of course you've got the heel turn in there as well. So they are coming along, and I just love that this watermelon yarn is so fun. I love the seeds. The seeds are just too cute in this self-striping yarn. This is by Biscotte. It used to be Biscotte AC, but now it's just Biscotte. And I have had this yarn in my stash for a couple of years, and I'm just so thrilled to finally be able to use it. So plan, best laid plans, to get this off the needles by tomorrow. And we are going to the dentist, which is out of town, on Tuesday. So I'm not sure if I'll get photographs up on Tuesday. Cross fingers I will, because I want to block them and then take photographs. If not Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I will have another finished object to put in my wonderful Ravelry project pages. So this is in my lovely project bag by the Scrappy Thread, and I just think it's so fun to match my project bags with my projects. So that is one project that has gotten a little bit of love in the time I've not been feeling well. I did not get much knitting done at all. And I have another project that I have been working on, and I'm going to share my yarn with you. This is the next Shawl Society pattern. It is the 4th one of the series. So after this one, there's 2 more to go. I have seen the pictures for number 5 and 6. I'm really excited to start number 5. It is very, very pretty. But this one is really, really pretty too. And I'm just about to add in my 3rd color, and I'm excited to share my yarns with you. So if this project bag sort of had a color theming happening, I had the pink and green yarns with the pink and green bag, what might my connection to Paris be for this one? And I am using Parisian yarn. I am finally breaking into my gorgeous La Bien-Aimée stash, and this is Cassiopeia, and this is my main color. My contrasting color 1 is the Hotness. I love it. And my contrasting color 2, this is the color I knew that I wanted to use as soon as I saw this project, and I just had to find some other ones to go along. And it is Wee Rainbow on a Vespa. So these are my 3 yarns that are completely blowing out the camera. I love how they look together. As I said, I haven't quite added this one in yet, but I'm really excited to see how all 3 of them start to play together as I continue to knit. So a nice neutral gray, a fun hot pink, we're still in summer mode, and a gorgeous turquoise speckled or aqua speckled yarn that just pops out some of those pinks. So I'm really, really excited to get some more work done on this. We went down to visit my sister-in-law on the other side of the border, not Friday past, not 2 days ago, but the week before, just before I got really sick. I wasn't feeling well. I had a bit of an infection, but before I got the fever. And I started this project on the drive down to her place. And I got to 5%, just enjoyed it so much. And now I'm at about 15%. I can't wait to add in Wee Rainbow on a Vespa. But yes, my La Bien-Aimée is in my Paris bag. So sometimes there's always little tiny hints, not always, but sometimes, between my project bag and the yarn I've chosen. Helen has put her yarn that she's used for the sample onto Instagram now, so I believe that people can pre-order. I think it's Fiber Company yarn, and so that's what she's using for her colors or her yarns for the samples. So it's pretty, and I'm really excited to share it with you once it's been released. And on August 30th, which is a Thursday, I believe that's the date it's going to be released, I will put a picture on Instagram. Now, on the long weekend in Labor Day, I am actually going away with Greg, just the two of us for the weekend. So there may very well not be a podcast that weekend. Maybe if I have a little bit of time on Labor Day once we're home, I'll try and put something up, because I really would love to share this project with you. But it might have to wait until the week after. We will see. I'm at this moment not promising anything, because I definitely want to enjoy our weekend away. It does not happen very often. It just doesn't happen usually very often at all. So as soon as I can, I will share the Shawl Society Project 4 with you. But in the meantime, oh, those yarns, so pretty. And now let's get to my finished object. And I have named this my Surf and Spice. And I named it that because as I was knitting on the beach, and you'll see the video if you watched last time's episode, so that was 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago, Isaac asked me a question about knitting on the beach, and I said, Surf and Spice, that's all you need. And Surf and Spice, yes, that is definitely all you need. This is my gorgeous On the Spice Market shawl, and I knit it with my yarns that I picked up at Loop London. What I had done actually was, when we were in London, the yarn wasn't in, but I was able to pre-order it, and so the yarns, when they did finally come in, were sent to my house. But I did purchase the yarn while I was in London. I just didn't bring it home with me. And what it was one full skein of Sand Dollar, which is the grayish neutral color. And then you got about 1/3 of a skein of each of the other colors, all balled up. And there is this gorgeous color, which is called Tamarillo. And this one, this lovely pink here, the lighter pink, is Shortcake. This one here is Tangerine Dream. This is Sapote. Here we have Silly Old Bear, and to my side here, I have a silly old bear who's breathing down my neck. And so Silly Old Bear is here and there. And then at the very bottom, this gorgeous, gorgeous turquoise, aqua, whatever you want to call it, that is called Birdcage. And I guess last week, stop being so silly, mister. Last week I shared my wick shawl with you, and I had used this gorgeous Birdcage also with the Sand Dollar. So I gifted that last week to my wonderful sister-in-law, and so it was nice that this one, which I worked on in Cape Cod, has the same colors as the one that I gifted her. There are a couple, because this is not a test knit, there are a couple of design features that have happened in here, just knitting along as I was on the beach, and then realized I had made a bit of a mistake. This one I tried to fix, but did a really bad job. I had accidentally slipped with the yarn in the back instead of the front here, I think. And so I've got I did go back and I fixed it, but didn't do it well enough. So it blends in, you don't see it. And then I had a couple of spots where I guess I mustn't have picked up my knit three togethers properly or made them into the proper stitch, because I seem to have dropped a few stitches, but only I know where those are, and even then, unless I'm looking, I'm not going to find them. But oh my goodness, this shawl makes me so happy. Not that I want to wish autumn on any faster, but I have to say I am really looking forward to wearing this once we do hit autumn. And this one is mine. Of course, I talked about it last time that the colors that are in here, I love them all. They just bring me so much happiness and joy. This is my Cape Cod knit. It is knit from my yarn that I bought in London, so it is a memory shawl that I absolutely adore. I've been wanting to knit this for 2 and a bit years, and I've finally done it. So it is a finished object. I did finish it over a week ago, but I did not get around to photographing. I finished it on, I guess, the Thursday before we went to visit my sister-in-law. And I did not get around to photographing it until this past Friday because I really wasn't feeling well. So you gotta not be feeling well to not declare a finished object as soon as you have the opportunity. Anyway, this is my On the Spice Market shawl. I love it. I am so tempted to go back to the Loop site and buy those yarns again and knit it in the reverse. So instead of the birdcage this side, the Tamarillo this side, and I would love to do that, but oh, there's only so much knitting one can do. Right, Nathaniel?
Yes.
Yes. No, don't press it off, you silly thing. Anyway, that is all I have to share on my favorite things, and yeah, even that one. That's one of my finished objects. He's one of my favorite things too. It's now time for some brown paper packages, and although you can't see it, I'm going to show you now. Scout has come to join us on the Comfy Red couch. And at the very end of my favorite things segment, the boys came downstairs and Greg was in the background chomping on nacho chips, and Nathaniel, of course, was stomping around being a silly little Nathaniel. And they have now gone to the Royal Ontario Museum for a couple of hours, so it's just Scout and I. Tasha's in the house, girls in the house only, and Isaac is at work. I'll talk about his job a little bit later on Bits and Bobs, but right now, just Scout and I, and time to share some of the lovely things that have come through the post in the past little while. I did receive some of the packages that I had ordered before my birthday. I was wondering why they were taking so long, especially some of them were very, very small, so they are here. And I also received something very special that I ordered not too long ago. But let's start off with some of the pre-birthday orders. And the first thing I am going to share is from Fripperies and Bibelot, or Fripperies et Bibelot, Fripp and Bib. And I absolutely love the Ringos, and I have this color already. These are the extra large, but these are the Breakfast at Tiffany's Ringos, and we're going into fall. We need some larger ringed rings in order to accommodate some of those larger projects on the bigger needles. So, you know, we need some jewelry for our lovely needles. And of course, Breakfast at Tiffany's, what better jewelry to get? Another one that I got was the Gin and Tonic, and this was a limited edition, and these were just too cute. These are the lovely sort of citrusy colored greens, yellows, pinks, some white in there, silver of the rings, and I'll put those back in the container. And oops, I missed one. And along with that came this fun Progress Keeper, and it's got a little, oops, glass with a lemon wedge in it, and a cute little lemony lime. It's not quite soft, but it's not super hard either. So a little lemony lime attachment onto that Progress Keeper. So absolutely adorable. A mermaid one has come available, and I might have gone back to the Frippen Bib, so there might be some more Ringos in my future. And I did get a lovely tennis racket as a bonus with my order. It's still in the, there's even a ball in there. I didn't notice the ball before. So there's a tennis racket and a ball. And the other thing that I was very, very excited to see on the Fripperies and Bibelot website were more stitch saves. And I love these things. I already have a couple. I really like the metal ones the best. I have a 2.25 millimeter crochet hook, and these are great for picking up stitches when you've made a mistake. It did get used when I was in Cape Cod. It has the lovely mirrored Frippen Bib, and it's not focusing very well. I just use my iPod to record the podcast. I am thinking maybe I should get a better camera, but it has the mirror there. It has fun beads. This one's really neat. This center one has a white spot. It's like a black and white, and just a fun sparkly one. And then it has the little red metal crochet hook. I do prefer the metal ones over, I have one bamboo one, and I find I don't like the bamboo one as much as I like my metal ones. So I got a red one, and then I also got a similar size, because this is the one I use the most, blue hook with the green beads, and it's got the lovely little mirror. So they don't show up in the Frippen Bib website all that often, so if you ever do see them and you're wanting to get a stitch save, they are fantastic. They've got a little clip here so you can attach it to a project bag or your project if you keep having issues. I usually just keep mine in the container very close at hand, throw it into my project bag if I know I'm going somewhere, and then if I make a mistake, I can go back and do some lace surgery, or if I'm working on a sock, just pick up a drop stitch. Makes life so much easier rather than tinking back 3 rows when you can just drop down, grab the stitch, fix it, and you're done within a couple of minutes. A lot less stress, a lot less time. So I do love those. The other thing I ordered before my birthday was from Hedgerow Yarns, and I ended up getting 2 lovely little goodies. So I did buy the Lupins. This was the Flower Power Fund colorway that Jane dyed up for July, and it's the Lupin colorway. And this is on her MCN base, which is just so squishy and so soft. She had it on sock in the shop at the time, but I saw this, it was the last one. I thought, you know what, I'm gonna go a little bit unique and just look at these gorgeous colors. It is now August, so this one cannot be ordered anymore, but just look at those gorgeous soft pinks. And while I was in the shop, I saw this amazing bit of fluff, and fluff is Jane's mohair base, and just the colors in this. I was just very, very drawn to them when I saw them on the website. And then when they arrived, I was completely blown away. Look at that little bit of purple. I have a very strong idea what I'm going to use this project on. It's going to be something where I hold it double with another yarn. I just need to figure out the other yarn that I might hold it double with. In the past, I have held mohair double with alpaca, and it just feels so soft and like a dream against your skin. And I do have some of Jane's alpaca blend yarn as well, so I'm thinking maybe a cream or a very light neutral, maybe a pink. I've got some in my stash, and to hold that double, that will allow these colors to really shine. And oh, I'm really, really excited to use this one. So mohair, 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 and lupins. And Jane was so lovely. She threw in this gorgeous little mini skein for me, which will be great for some toes or a cuff, maybe a heel. It's small, but just so adorable. Wouldn't it be adorable as a keychain? But it would unfortunately probably, I guess you could, if you put the loop through here, but who wants to have a ball? Shouldn't ask who wants to have a little skein of yarn as a keychain, because, you know, if you're stuck somewhere and you need something to knit, it's easy to grab, but I would hate to ruin it just, you know, throwing it in my purse all the time. But just, oh, love the colors in this, love the colors in these. And Jane, as always, puts together a wonderful, wonderful package for the people who order her gorgeous yarns. So always fun to open a package from Jane, and this package, no exception. The next thing I am going to share with you came in the mail this week, and I think I ordered it a little over a week ago, and this is my order from Viola Yarns. I love Emily's yarn, and I had a very hard time resisting when Emily put a photograph of the new shawl or wrap that she has designed for Pom Pom Quarterly. And it's based on the moon. I believe it's called the Sky Map Shawl, and it is gorgeous. So she put a photograph of the Sky Map shawl on her website, and then put a photograph of the kits, and I knew I had to have this yarn. And the thing is, when you go to Emily's sites and you have to, you're in the middle of an update, you just can't stop at one. So I did sort of buy some sock yarn as well. And this one is Reflections. I love Emily's sock yarn. They make wonderful, wonderful socks, and they're just so lovely to use. And there's little bits of colors and speckles in here. So this is Reflections. That's one of the colors I bought. And this one is called, I really need my glasses, Storm Cloud. And Storm Cloud is that dark, moody gray, but it's also got some gorgeous little bits of purple and green. And there's something magic that happens when you knit with Emily's yarn. You look at it in the skein, and yes, it's beautiful, but when you start knitting, just colors pop out that you had no idea were there. And this base, oh, it's one. I have two favorite bases to work with, and this is one of them, and my spoiler alert is the other one. So, and they're both sock yarns. One is by Viola, and the other sock yarn base that I love is Tracy of Nora George, her Super Socks. So I'm sharing my two favorite bases with you. And today, so exciting. Anyway, this is Storm Cloud. And I don't know what it is. I cannot go through a Viola update without ordering my favorite colorway, even though there might be a few in my stash. I have gifted a few of them. This is Garden Ghost, and this is my favorite colorway by Emily. I love it. There's just these gorgeous gardeny colors in there. So greens, pinks, purples, yellows, oranges. There's little surprises in there. There's some little bits of yellow in there. And you never know what you're getting next. There's purple. Look at those gorgeous little specks in there. So I did gift a couple of skeins of Garden Ghost recently. So I needed to, add a little bit more to my collection. So this is on sock, and so yes, I added a little bit more sock yarn to my stash from Viola. It's my favorite base. Tied for my favorite base. I can't say no. The next thing I ordered blew me away when it arrived, and I just didn't know which of the two kits to order. So what do you do when you don't know which kit to order? Of course you order both, right? This is the Moonlight kit, and this is mohair. This is for the Sky Map shawl that is in Pom Pom Quarterly. It takes 4 skeins of Viola mohair, and then the kit has a mini skein of, this one is Midnight. And what you do is you knit up the shawl, and then afterwards you draw your own sky map. So I haven't got my Pom Pom Quarterly yet, but I do know somebody who has got theirs already, and so it will be coming shortly, hopefully. So this is the Moonlight kit, and it just glows. I'm really excited to see how this knits up in, and it's one of these, I'm not going to be brave enough to do it myself yet. I want to see what it looks like knit up, because I may use this for the Sky Map shawl, or I may use this for a sweater and hold it double with something. So I haven't fully decided, but I just knew that when I saw this, it needed to come and live with me, and oh, it's so soft. So maybe a Sky Map shawl, maybe a sweater, because I've been wanting to get some mohair to hold double, maybe a Like a Cloud sweater. I'm not sure. The one that captured my heart and I had to have was the Cosmic Kit. The problem is the Cosmic Kit, by the time I got through the cart, I was cart jacked. So I went back into the shop and I was able to get 4 individual skeins of the Cosmic, and then I got a full skein of the Garden Ghost, which was the complementary color that goes with the kit for the Cosmic Kit. So while this one came with a little mini, I have 5 full skeins. I know, it's beautiful. You want to pop up and see. This is Cosmic. This is gorgeous. And then the highlight is my favorite Viola colorway, which is Garden Ghost. So this is the Garden Ghost on the mohair as compared to the Garden Ghost on the sock. But oh, I love it on both. And look at that bit of pink in there. And it's amazing how different the bases take the same colorways. So Viola, and this is her mohair lace. So this one is definitely going to be a Sky Map shawl. and oh, I just love all the purples in there. And I also ordered a kit for a friend, or a kit that came like this with the 5 skeins, and her kit is a little bit more muted, less purple. And so we had a lovely little FaceTime conversation yesterday, and I knew that she would like more sort of these colors. Hers are more these colors without as much of the bright purple in there. So sort of the one side there. And so she's getting the more muted ones, and then I've taken the more purple ones because I know that my friend does not like the purple as much as I do. And when I let Emily of Viola Yarns know that, okay, we finally sat down, opened our parcel on FaceTime, and I get the purple, she said, I knew you'd like the purple. So Emily knew to send this one for me, and the other one will be heading to its home in a very short while, and I know that recipient is going to be over the moon with it. And her garden ghost is just gorgeous, but oh, mine is too. They are, oh, just, and Emily, knowing that I was going to do this as a kit for both of them, tied them up so that they all went together. And I'm very, very excited to get my copy of Pom Pom magazine and start. She also threw in a cute little sock sticker as well. The other thing that is in the works for Emily of Viola Yarns is that she is coming out with a book of winter knits that is going to be published by Pom Pom Quarterly, and that will be coming out sometime this fall. So I am definitely so excited to get my copy of that. So I'll be ordering that as soon as I can. So here are the 2 kits. Not really a kit, but close enough. And just Emily's yarn is magic. Anyway, let's get this wrapped up nicely. It's going to be lots of crinkly goodness while I do this. And of course my sock yarn, because, and we'll put that on the knitting table to go upstairs until I get my copy of Pom Pom Quarterly. Now, the next few things that I have to share with you are spoilers. So, spoiler alert, it is time to share with you some of the Nora George clubs. Now, I know that Tracy put a spoiler up on Instagram, so you may have seen this, but if you haven't, and you don't want to see them until you've received yours, although mine was really slow in coming, so you've probably already got it. Not much of a spoiler anymore, but just in case, cover your eyes, cover your ears, run screaming out of the room, do what you need to do. I am going to share July's clubs with you, as well as on the 31st of July, Tracy had a special colorway, which was Happy Birthday Harry, because it was Harry Potter's birthday on the 31st of July, and I do have that. And you know what? I think I'm going to share that one with you first. So this is Happy Birthday Harry, and it has a mini, and it has this gorgeous skein of yarn, and to me this just screams Hagrid and his finding Harry on his birthday and letting him know that he's a wizard and going to Hogwarts. Hogwarts. This is just such a fun skein. I will probably make socks out of this one, but I'm not 100% sure. You never know till sometimes a project comes along and you know exactly what it's for, but I'm thinking these will probably be some fun socks, although they would make a fun cowl too, so we shall see. Maybe a hat with the yarn held double. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Now I'm going to move on to the July clubs, and the Great Characters of Literature Club this month, or for July, because it's now August, was based on Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, or I guess it's just the Wizard of Oz, and then of course the main character is Dorothy. And the minis are all based on supporting characters. And I will hold these up and try not to get too much of a glare on there. So this one here, not so much a supporting character, but a very, very big element in the Wizard of Oz, and that is the Yellow Brick Road. And beside the Yellow Brick Road is the Tin Man, and the Cowardly Lion is, or just the lion, is this one here. And I believe in June, maybe it was May, Narnia was the focus, and I think it was June. The colorway that Tracy did for Aslan was just, I thought, spot on. And so this one for the Cowardly Lion, of course you can't do the same lion the same color. It's a little bit different, a little bit more orangey, and less, a little bit more bright, very much Wizard of Oz like, those bright colors, Technicolor, as compared to Aslan, which is a little bit more earthy. And this one here is Scarecrow, and at the end is the lovely little Toto. Because Toto, I don't think we're in Kansas anymore. And these are the minis that went with the Great Characters of Literature set. And of course, you have to have Dorothy as the star. Although, I am a little bit partial to the Wicked Witch of the West, especially after seeing Wicked, and Elphaba being that character. A green skein would be fun too, but this is Dorothy, and we have the lovely little ruby slippers. These would be so fun. I showed this to my sister-in-law yesterday, and she said, they need to be sparkle yarn. They would have been fun sparkle yarn for sure. Nice ruby slippers, but they are gorgeous, gorgeous red, and Dorothy is this beautiful blue with browns and light spots, whites, light blues in there as well. So this is Dorothy Gale, Dorothy the Wizard of Oz. So beautiful, beautiful skeins of yarn. The final thing I have to share with you on brown paper packages today is the Mrs. Weasley's Knit Club colorway for July, and this is based on the Deathly Hallows. So the yarns for this series are each of the Deathly Hallows, and this one is the Cloak of Invisibility, and this is the main skein, so Cloak of Invisibility. And I don't even know how to describe the mini that goes with this. Purple is not quite an adequate word. It is just ultraviolet, but ultraviolet in like cap letters, like capitals, like ultraviolet, italic, something like that. It is absolutely amazing, and together they just go wonderfully. So this is the Cloak of Invisibility. I believe there is one more in August for the Deathly Hallows. This series has been based on the Deathly Hallows, and I already have the Elder Wand. That was the June colorway, and this is the July, so the Cloak of Invisibility, and the next one is the Resurrection Stone. And Tracy did put a spoiler on her Instagram page, and I've been very, very good about not scrolling ahead to see all of the gorgeous yarn that she has dyed up. So I've tried my best to stay away, but ultraviolet, yes. Oh my gosh, just gorgeous, gorgeous. And as I said, my Viola, my Nora George, these are my two favorite yarn bases. Just, I love knitting with both of these. But look, they're just so different. Just very, very different dyers. And, but, oh, my two favorite yarns. You just can't go wrong with that. Anyway, that is all I have to share this week on brown paper packages. That leaves me with an empty basket, and definitely that was enough. It's now time for some bits and bobs, and this is my segment where I talk about anything and everything not necessarily knitting related. And I did mention at the top of the episode that the past week really kicked my rear end. I was not feeling well. I had a really bad fever for the earlier part of the week, so I decided that it would be better to take it easy and sort of take care of myself. I did not get much knitting done during that time. I had already finished my On the Spice Market. I did get that little tiny bit done on my sock, but otherwise not much knitting happened. Isaac has been enjoying his job. When we got back from Cape Cod, by the time all of his paperwork was done, he had to do a course on healthy child development. He also had to have his police record check and everything like that. So by the time that was all put in and he had done all the training and sessions he needed to do, all the lifeguard and instructing positions were taken in the regular pool. So he is now a wading pool guard. So Toronto has several wading pools in parks all around the city, and he's been very, very lucky. He's been able to get parks that are really quite close, walking distance. And yesterday we went with my lovely in-laws to go see him in action and take the kids to the wading pool so that they could play for a little bit. And we got there just a little bit before it was time to drain the pool. And health regulation is that every 4 hours the wading pool needs to be drained, then refilled, and they need to add chlorine. So it was a lot of fun to watch Isaac and his partner drain the pool, and then Isaac put on a yellow hazmat suit and had to wade into the water in big Wellington boots and mix the chlorine and add the chlorine. So it was a lot of fun to watch that happen. And of course all the kids need to be out of the pool while that's happening because there's no water because they've drained it, but they're also adding the chemicals. So he's doing really, really well at his job. It wasn't the job he had hoped he was going to get, but I think he's enjoying it, and I think that they're finding him to be very reliable and a good worker. So that's always a good thing, knowing that your child is being responsible and doing a great job. So that's what he has been up to. I did mention Greg and Nathaniel have gone to the ROM, and earlier this week, and I'm a little bit heart-stopping on this one, we discovered that Nathaniel is now tall enough that he can ride on the back of the Vespa, and that will be good for school runs because it's hard sometimes to get parking. So if Greg needs to drive him up to school or pick him up at the end of the day, we can do that on the back of the Vespa. So we had to go to the Vespa dealership to get Greg a new helmet. So while we were there, we got a helmet for Nathaniel. So he's got his helmet, so his head is protected, and they put some special things on the Vespa so that it would make it safe for Nathaniel to be a passenger as well. But so a little bit heart-stopping, but he did take his first Vespa ride. They just went around the block, and of course as soon as they got back he was raring for more, but as mom I was, that's okay, you've done enough for the day. But I don't know, I didn't have as much of a problem when Isaac went on. Maybe it's just because of the accident that Greg had almost 2 years ago that I'm a little bit more, reticent about these things. And of course Nathaniel's just turned 9. I think Isaac was about 12 when he went on the Vespa for the first time. So just a little bit of an age gap there, but I'm sure, it's just going to be local neighborhood trips, but enough to make me just go, okay, be safe. Anyway, so that's what's happening there. And with me, oh my, I am going to start my final week of holidays. So this upcoming week, I'm hoping to get my test knits off the needles, or at least as close to off the needles as possible. And then I am back to work the last week of August. And then Greg and I are going to have a little mini holiday on the Labor Day weekend. And then we're all back full force from our holidays on the day after Labor Day. So school's back for the kids. Isaac, I did all the paperwork and all of his fee payments for school. All filled out all the forms that I needed to fill out the other day. So he's set to go. And Nathaniel will have a wonderful new teacher next year as well, who coincidentally rides a Vespa. So they'll have some things that they can chat about. And I think that's all for now that I've got to share on Bits and Bobs. Of course, as soon as I turn this off, I'll go, oh, I meant to share this, or oh, I meant to share that. But for now, I think I've probably shared enough. I think my heart's still in my throat a little bit, but it'll be okay. Anyway, as I said, I think that's all I've got to share on Bits and Bobs. Thank you so much for joining me on the Comfy Red Couch this week. I hope that you've had a chance to sit down, relax, refresh, get some work on that project. I have definitely missed my regular podcast routine, but also know I need to take care of myself. So for the next couple of weeks, next week I have a shower that I'm going to Saturday, and then I'm going out for lunch, or brunch I guess, with my best friend on Sunday. I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to carve out a time next weekend to podcast. So if I do decide to podcast, it will maybe be a little bit earlier because I'll be back to work on Monday. But I'm also wondering if I'm going to have anything to share with you other than my Soul Sisters socks, so as a finished object, and I did share them as a half-finished object, so I may not have much to share with you. The following week, as I said, Greg and I are going away for the Labor Day weekend, so we'll be away on the Friday, the Saturday, and the Sunday. We'll be returning on the Monday. I'm hoping I might have a chance to film maybe a mini podcast on the Monday, but I'm not going to promise anything yet. But once the school routine is back in full force for the boys and everybody's back to work in September, then I think I'm going to get right back on that horse and get back on the regular routine. But for the rest of the summer, no promises, and because I know what my 2 weekends ahead look like. They're going to be busy. But in the meantime, I am wishing you the most wonderful last 2 weeks of August going into the Labor Day weekend. If you celebrate Labor Day, if you don't celebrate Labor Day, all the best going into September. And I look forward to seeing you next time on the Comfy Red Couch. Bye. Happen if I took this and I took my gin and tonic, Fripperies, a Bibelot stitch markers, put them together, would it make a really great cocktail? I always like a little bit of lemon on the side. Got that at least.